I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today, my guest is Paul Vasterling with the Nashville Ballet. We'll be back to talk with him after this. Welcome, Paul.
Great. Nice to be here.
So, you're not my typical guest in terms of the fact that you're involved with a ballet company here in Nashville, but it's a cool story because Nashville's not necessarily a typical market to have the kind of ballet company you guys have built here. Is that true?
I guess people wouldn't expect it. Yeah, in a city like Nashville, it's sort of the quality and the level that the ballet company has attained is usually pretty surprising for folks who come here.
And really sustained itself over time, too. I mean, you guys have been at it for quite a while.
Yeah, this is our 30th anniversary. So, figuring out how these nonprofit arts organizations kind of make it work and how we can tie up all of the different parts of the organization has been, I think, our secret to, success. Almost every regional ballet, every national ballet company has a school that's attached to it.
Right.
And also do these outreach activities in the community. So really my goal has been to kind of figure out how we leverage each one of the aspects of who we are into the total, the total picture. So if you think about it, we start training the children at age 3. And that is when you can kind of inject, I guess, for lack of a better word, this love for the art form into the children.
And so you're bringing the kids in, but you're also bringing in the families, and is that part of the community building then that you're trying to do?
Absolutely, and also if you think about, we're looking to grow artists, ballet dancers who can be in a dance company or who have an artistic, way of artistic expression, but also we are getting people to really fall in love with it. So, we're a nonprofit. We live by the donations of people who give us money partially. We earn a lot of our income, but partially it's from people who give it. And if you look at the folks who are interested in donating to our cause and to what we do, many of them have had an experience of the art when they were younger. So in a way, you're really using your training program, your school to get your patrons for the future. So it's really taking the long view. I've been doing this this is my 17th season. And
here in Nashville.
Yeah, as artistic director. I was promoted to CEO about 5 years ago. So, all of those things working together are what makes us go and keep going, and the opportunities.
So, I mean, you are a very old traditional art form. Mm-hmm. How have you specifically tried to kind of navigate changing world and changing culture and society?
It's so funny that ballet is based on tradition. I mean, it's about how we do it.
Right.
It's 400 years old.
Right.
So, challenging ourselves to think outside of the box without losing who we are is really important. And one of the things, we really are connected, and I've always wanted us to be connected to what Nashville is and what we're doing in the community. So we collaborate constantly. We're actually kind of known for.
So you do ballet line dancing, or?
We have done all kinds of stuff. I mean, Nashville actually has this wonderful brand of music city, which we have grabbed onto. Makes a lot of sense, actually. And all of the wonderful kinds of music that are here, which again people are usually surprised, a little less surprised now because of the way it's growing. But we've collaborated with so many different kinds of music, not only country, but all the folk, and there's lots of classical, the Nashville Symphony, and all of its sort of offshoots. So kind of having our minds open to it's both artistic and it's also the right thing to do business-wise. Artistically, it gives us inspiration, and your mind is expanded by working with people outside of your genre.
Right.
But also, business-wise, it gives us the opportunity to cross-pollinate our audiences. So you're gathering people all the time by working with different kinds of groups.
So what was the biggest risk that you took like that, where you tried to reach out to another genre or another artist, or the strangest one you tried? Or
What a great question. It's probably back when we started doing this, and there was a guy named Guy Clark, that incredible songwriter?
Yeah.
Gosh, you would never think of his work being done to ballet.
Right.
And he's very sort of gruff, and
Right.
his work is really more about poetry, and it doesn't feel very rhythmic. It doesn't feel like dancing. But the choreographer who did it really found a unique voice. It's actually one of the most beautiful pieces that I think we've done. And I was surprised. I was sort of a little bit doubtful. I mean, usually I ask, people to collaborate with the Bluebird Cafe, and,
Sure.
and they brought me Guy, and I was like, okay, well, let's try it, and we'll see. And I was a little dubious, but man, it just was so beautiful and so unexpected what came out of it. And it just goes back to that idea of, if you kind of put yourself out there and risk a little bit, you're going to find something. You'll fail too, but you find something wonderful. And we brought all these people in who are shocked that this is what ballet is, because there are definite cliches in
Right.
someone's mind when you say ballet, the word ballet, and I love to kind of defy those expectations.
So, is that risk taking? Is that really unusual for a ballet company, or is that kind of inherent in your profession?
Way more common now. As time has gone on, I think ballet companies are naturally a little bit more scrappy because
To survive.
Yes, we're usually kind of, dance. People are a little nervous about dance itself, and ballet. Again, there's those cliches that go. So we have to be a little bit more creative, and I think ballet companies across the U.S. kind of lead that edge because we've had to.
Right.
We've had to be able to find our way through a changing landscape and a changing donor landscape. It's really, really different than it was, gosh, even 10 years ago.
Talk about the new building that you guys just constructed. Because that's, when you talk about being scrappy and ballet companies having to kind of do a lot of things to get by, you undertook a huge capital.
We did.
Construction
it was
project.
the biggest project in our history, and again, we've had our board of directors and our patrons are very disciplined in terms of how we grow and have been. This made a lot of sense. We've lived over, our studios have been over in Sylvan Heights since 2001, and adjacent to us was the climbing gym called Vasterling-Nashville, and we had 4 studios, like 3.5 studios for a long time, and we made a strategic kind of decision to start building our school and building the lower levels of our school, younger kids. Again,
Right.
Back to my original statement, which is, you're
Right.
injecting them at this young age. And it turned out pretty quickly that we grew out of the space that we were in terms of studio time. And so that, gave us the next step of deciding to buy this Vasterling-Nashville property and do a capital campaign around improving that. And basically we took the whole space that we had, our old space, and completely redid it except for 2 of the studio spaces, and then added another, we have 7 in total now, 7 studios that are kind of rocking and rolling all the time with the school. It's pretty exciting. And it's, again, we live in this world where we make do, with our studio space and, the rats. When I first moved to Nashville, the studios that we were in, wow, man, they were.
We call that bootstrapping in my world. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. And so now it's just amazingly nice, and
Yeah.
we have We have lots of toilets, which is a really big deal in an organization that runs a lot of people through. You'd be really surprised at how important that was in the planning
Right.
process, is how many toilets we have. That sounds crazy.
Well, I first became aware of Nashville Ballet when my cousin's daughter joined your company years ago, and like many people, I was kind of, really, Nashville Ballet? And that whole side of the family was yeah, this is a big deal for her, and so you all are to be congratulated for building such a wonderful institution and tackling the challenges that you have with an ancient art form and keeping it contemporary. So
Great.
well done.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
My pleasure.